This is Dofi versus Lucci.
Okay, so we were both wrong again. All right, very nice, very nice.
I thought I said Dofi at the start.
I thought you changed your mind.
I did. I shouldn't.
No. Well,
Yeah, so this is probably like the two top decks versing each other now.
yeah, and I think I recognize the Lucci player. I think he's a typical top 64, at least top 32 player. The name rings a bell, but I could be wrong there.
Okay.
And then yet got Jimmy here was the Dofi now.
Oh yeah, I definitely recognize the name Koi. And
Yeah, Koi definitely. I think, yeah, I could be wrong. I mean, I guess it's a flowering comment if I think he's always in top 64, but yeah. So I guess the question is, are you going first or second in this matchup if you're Lucci here? Because
if you go first, you get to establish Jack first, and leader plus Jack is just going to remove a threat every single turn.
True.
But you do need to get to turn 4.
That is true, because yeah, if Dofi here turbo charges with the Jinbeis, if they see double Jinbei, then it's kind of very difficult for you, and that's why it's always like going second at the very least. Then you can establish your Gecko and as well get the Lucci out to potentially pop a few things.
Yep. So kind of interesting to see how they go. I think this matchup is ever so slightly Lucci favoured, but like it's a very slight advantage. It's going to come down to what cards they see and do they missequence anything. Because once we're getting to the like 4 or 3-0s and like 4-0s, people are going to be the people you're versing are the ones who do punish those mistakes and just win off a simple mistake.
100%. All right, so it looks like we're already getting straight into it. So it looks like Koi has played a Temper Kick just to draw a card.
Yep. And this is a blind Dofi, so
which is interesting, unless he's faking it out. No, and he's got rewarded there was the Boa. Looks like I think I saw a Boa, one of the new starter deck lords, and I unfortunately didn't see what the other card was.
Was that a buggy?
I can't tell, so he's doing a little bit too fast there.
Oh, Jinbei.
Jinbei. Well, obviously you want to keep the Jinbei there.
Want that Jinbei to be your next turn's play.
100%. Looks like Koi's just thinking about if he wants to take that hit. So that would be 8,000.
It is 2/2Ks he has to drop. Oh, did you see Koi's hand there?
Unfortunately not. I was just trying to...
It's like Gecko, Jack, 2 Luccis. It's no counter.
All right. Interesting here. Okay. So he decides to take it and decides to draw a card and draws a card as well for turn. Going to 4 Don. So yeah, what was that? 2 Luccis, a Jack.
Gecko... Is that
Brook?
an Isho?
I think that's a Brook. I see a Brook. And I think that's a Shiru at the back. I think it's one of the champ cards.
Yeah, so he doesn't actually have a lot of counter,
No.
which is...
It is a concern, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that's a Helmepo at the back.
Okay, so he does have some stuff he can do here. So I guess the question is, does he play the Shiru, play the Brook, and then get rid of that Boa blocker, or if he just swings everything into...
I mean, if he does that, he's got no counter once
that's
again.
the only other thing. He loses all his counter. But I guess it's just how much of a threat does he consider that Boa to be?
Looks like he might be doing that.
Decides to swing first, milling a Brook and another Tempest Kick, unfortunately. Jimmy getting a card to hand.
Yep. So exactly the play you predicted, but...
I think that's all you can really do, because you don't want to allow Dofi to establish board, and especially not a blocker. So
and a 6k body as well, because that's like one attack of that is going to force that Suru out. So it's better to just throw that Suru out to kill it rather than...
No, definitely. But at the very least, with all those non-counter cards in hand, when Koi does get to that Jack, he can just start trashing those Lucci. So at least he has options that I don't feel bad for him.
He's also in a much better position by establishing the Brook now, because that Brook helps sets up those Luccis.
Yep.
So Brook plus leader and Lucci KOs Jinbei, for instance. Jinbei Weevil, the classic.
So Jimmy's at 4 life and Koi is at 3. Sorry, the update just hasn't come through just as of yet.
So the 6th Don turn, what did he...
Did he draw another Lucci? He had 2 in hand before. I think he has, I think he drew into another Lucci, so he has 3 Luccis there, plus the 2-cost Uta, which is the GOAT play sometimes.
Sadly, no counter though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Uta has a counter, doesn't it? One counter?
I don't think it does.
Oh, okay, well.
But the Uta is still a really good play here. if they don't use it just yet. And it's just because it's...
I mean, fair enough. You don't want to get rid of it. So he plays the Helimepo.
Oh, yep.
Yep, just does the combo to get rid of it.
He was preparing for that a few turns ago. Works out nicely.
Very nice. I mean, he didn't know, obviously, the Jinbei was in hand, but you kind of have to assume it's in hand.
Yeah.
So.
One concerning thing about this match, though, for Koi at the moment is that there is no blockers yet. So if he just does a constant, 7k swing every turn, Koi has no counter. He's eventually just going to lose. And Jimmy is not losing cards from hand when he's putting all this pressure on.
No, definitely not. No.
Jimmy also just, playing the blocker, going to attach a Don, so he's probably going to go for another, 7k swing, maybe.
I know he had another Boa in he stacked there, so it really depends. I can't remember if he stacked the Boa or if he stacked the Law that bounces cards back to hand.
I think it's going to be super interesting as well. He might be able to, if he does go for the Law option, he's going to have to think which one does he want to bounce. The Brook is providing a lot of utility at the moment.
Yep.
Bouncing Lucci does mean if he already has that utility set up, then it's just going to destroy his board again. But it might be the play.
Yeah. I just looked up as well. The 2-cost Uta does not have counter, so I think essentially his whole hand is dead here. So Koi will be going into his 7 Don turn next turn. Yep. So I imagine
the Jack is probably going to get established.
I mean, he has no other play particularly unless Jimmy does something crazy here and gets a lot of bodies on field, which he plays the Jinbei, plays the...
Or bounce the Jinbei, bounce the Lucci.
That's Lucci.
Yep, no pressure's going to really come back at him the next turn.
Yeah, interesting though, he didn't actually go into the Brook. He decided to go into Leader instead.
I think he just wants to hit face over and over until he can win. If you get Lucci down to 0, Perfume LaFleur.
That's true. That depends. I'm not sure if typical builds run anymore. I was going to say at the start, I think it also depends if he is running the Josie or even the Gravity Blades, because that can definitely come in handy against the Sabo and the blockers. Because I'm not sure if many Dofi players play more than maybe one of the Perfume.
It's typically a 1 or 2 of.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, it's a 1-cost event that...
2-cost event that gives 2k and choose a target 7 Warlord and it can't be blocked this turn.
Yep.
So very, very similar to Diablo Jumbe. It's just a great option for when you're going for game. A lot of decks only answers to hardcore aggression is just to play a bunch of blockers and then that's not going to happen.
Right. So we just swung at lead here, blocking with the Boa, and Boa has also got the -1, and he's milled a Ice Age and a Khalifa.
This looks like...
So he's obviously setting up for the Jack, most likely. But he could also potentially do an Uta into a Lucci if he felt like it.
I don't think that board wipes, though.
No, we'd only get rid of...
I think he needs to establish the Jack just to start drawing cards.
Yeah, just to start. And also get those Luccis in trash so he can set up Gecko next turn. Yep, drawing the Spandine.
Yep, so he's now getting the setup in trash. And then quick poke with 5.
Just to see what happens.
Honestly, do you just take it as Dofi?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Dofi's hand size is, unfortunately. He just has it off screen here. But yeah, just ends up taking it. But it looks hefty from the looks of it. Also, just for those people who don't know, the 2-cost Uta, you may rest it, and it minuses 2 to a character. But it also cannot be KO'd by leaders, so it can't be killed by battle by a leader. So you can't just swing it with lead. So another thing that can minus things on the field.
At this point, though, you have to be kind of spooked on both players' sides, not knowing, Koi has a massive hand.
Yeah.
Jimmy doesn't know it's dead.
No, it doesn't. But I feel like if you're Jimmy in this situation, you would be like, okay, does he have any Rebecca's in trash?
Yeah.
He has Lucci, so he could Gecko next turn. He could get rid of Helimepo as well.
And Jimmy does have a Jinbei in hand, so he could still also just go Jinbei, Weevil, Dofi effect, play something.
Yeah. There's quite a few options. So he's choosing to go into the Brook here, it appears.
6. This is a telltale sign as well to Jimmy on if there's counter in his hand. Yep. Oh, it was into the brook. My bad.
But from the looks of it, I think only he has Spandine as counter in hand, unfortunately.
And Zombie Luffy.
Does he have Zombie? Oh, I didn't catch Zombie Luffy in his hand. Fair.
Koi's nice enough to have his hand on stream.
Thank you, Koi. Appreciate it. Love you. Jimmy, bad boy.
All right. So, yep, this looks like it's just going to be swing 8, play whatever's on top. Ooh, that's a good card.
That's good. I'm not sure if Jimmy actually set that up. I feel like it might be another blind almost. I could be wrong there, but he is making him trash a card from hand, which I don't think Koi particularly cares too much about. Surely you just get the Spandine in that situation.
And yeah, Jimmy's just trying to put on enough pressure now so that he can just go for game the next turn.
Yeah. And so that being why he doesn't pop the 2K back to his hand. For those who don't know, you can get that card back to your hand and then make your opponent put a card at the bottom of their deck if they have 7 or more, I believe. So I think Jimmy in this situation is thinking, okay, you don't have Rebecca in trash. You play Gecko, yeah, you can play your Lucci.
But what do you get off that?
Yeah, exactly.
He can play the Uta first to make something cost 2. Then,
which looks like he might be doing because he is pushing 2 aside.
But he's still going to be dealing with 3 attacks coming at him next turn.
The only thing I could think he could do is, firstly, just test the waters, go for 5. Checking hand here.
I think he has to swing into like the 4-cost law.
That's what I was thinking. Just go for board. Don't worry about a leader. Maybe even swing with Jack potentially, and then bring out the Lucci to start popping stuff. But before that, play the Uta.
I mean, like if you go Lucci, you can make Jimbei cost 3. Then Jack can just kill it, which is useful. Then you can play Uta to make like the law cost 2. Then you can play Gecko to Lucci.
Yeah, but the only thing with that is I can only kill 1 with the Lucci because I don't believe he has anything
That's
else
fine,
to minus.
I think. Because if you're just swinging at the rested cards and if they don't get protected, then you win. But
it would still potentially leave because let's just say hypothetically he just swings with Lucci and KOs Jimbei with the Jack, and then he brings Lucci out. He would still have 2 attacks and plus leader. Which could be
and a whiff doesn't help.
Yeah, that does not help. So he only has 8 Don here, so his choice really is just to play
9 Don.
Apologies. I thought he had used 2 already.
But this really just shows like the aggression that Dofi is like presenting to the format. There's no other aggressive deck that can keep up with it. Like
no.
You've got Zero, which is probably the closest thing to the next most aggressive deck, but Zero is like burning a lot from hand.
Oh, yeah.
This deck just is like, I'm just going to play it all for free and then draw cards.
Yeah. I mean, it's also crazy as well. I mean, like, the versatility of all the cards. Like, look at the 2K. You can still just use it as an attacker.
Yeah.
It's basically, and then you can also just pop it back to hand to make them bottom deck a card.
Yep.
Because it's not on play. I don't believe it's on play. I think it's just activate main, so you can do it whenever you want either.
Wild.
Crazy. Dofi doing Dofi things.
And honestly, it's a really good deck to invest in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's good in 8.5. It's like the best deck in 8.5. In OP9 next set, best deck. And in set 10, it's still looking to be one of the best decks.
It's
like
basically the only thing that almost counts as Blackbeard because of just the aggression it has.
Yeah.
So invest now in Dofi.
Definitely also harder to play than some people give it credit for.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's got a lot of sequencing micro decisions that you have to be making to play that deck optimally. Like, I know when you first start off, everyone's like, oh, you just hit Jimbei Weevil, Jimbei Weevil, Jimbei Weevil, and you win. Like, yeah, that's cool. But what about those games you don't hit Jimbei Weevil as consistently? What do you do? Or like if you're versing Lucci, who remove it for very little investment that turn.
So he's just hit into the 2K lore there, and then using Jack to pop it.
Yep.
He did trash a Shiru and another Jack, and then trashing a another Lucci was the Jack effect.
Yep. I think he drew a Rebecca off the Jack.
And then playing the Uta to -2 on the Mihawk there, and I'm guessing he's going to play the other Lucci to... Oh no, he's playing Rebecca there, okay.
I mean, he could play Spandine here.
But yeah, very could say, and I imagine he may actually be doing that, because he should have enough CP cards in there. He's grabbing back the Khalifa 2k, so he has at least 4k in hand now.
Yep. And suddenly this one turn, really well crafted by Koi to remove as much of the board as possible, establish a blocker, and just keep going.
Gets rid of 3 CP cards, which will be the 2k Jack, another Spandine, and a Spandine.
Yep. Drawing that Rebecca, because I don't think he had that last turn.
He did not, no. That's what I was saying.
Incredibly helpful. And honestly might have won him this game.
Definitely. I mean, like, you know, Jimmy at the end of his turn had 4 cards on field. Now he has 1.
Yeah. But knowing Dofi, it's just going to be back to a full field next turn.
That is true. I mean, we haven't obviously seen Jimmy's hand for a little bit, but he, from any time he puts on the table, is quite hefty. And yeah, losing a few bodies doesn't mean much to Dofi when he can instantly just get back into it. Oh, yep, there we go. So he plays the Blackbeard.
Probably putting a Jinbei on top of the deck.
Most likely. Or potentially a Boa if he wants to stack. Koi very nicely spreading out his life. Thank you much.
And constantly just like quickly showing off that Jinbei in his hand in his top in the hand cam.
He just wants us to know. He wants to get in our heads. Be amazing if he doesn't play Jinbei.
I think it's going to be an interesting. It really feels like it's just down to the last like 2 turns of the game. Like,
yeah,
and if it's not guaranteed after 2 turns, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, because Jimmy obviously knows that Koi has that 2k Khalifa, so he wants to at least swing for 7 just to get potentially 2 cards out of his hand if he doesn't want to use that Rebecca, which personally I feel like Koi doesn't want.
There we go. Perfect.
Oh, thank you. We got camera readjustment, so thank you to our fantastic team here at Attack.
Playing 9, playing Lord of Bounce to bounce Rebecca. That's huge.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So
I didn't expect that.
I did not.
This is why I'm not like playing today. I'm not this big brain.
I feel like Koi in this situation,
he has to counter out, but then he has a perfume in hand.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be Dawn up, Jinbei swing like 10,
potentially,
and then 15 next turn.
Yeah. So I feel like Koi. I feel like Koi should almost trash the Rebecca just so he can play the Gecko next turn, just so he can get that back. So,
okay, so yeah, it comes down to this is Koi's last turn.
Yeah. So Jimmy at 3 life, looks like at least 6 or 7 cards in hand. We know he has at least 1k in hand. Looks like he had a Jozu in hand as well, and I think that was potentially a Boa. So I don't think Koi has actually either seen a Sabo either.
He's just digging for it, it looks like.
Yeah. So I think he minus that on the Jinbei.
No, I don't think he had enough in trash. I think he just did the
draw
card.
Apologies. All right, so we got another Rebecca and Spandine in trash.
So you have to be thinking, is like, do I just play the Gecko, play the Rebecca, add a 2k back, and hope he doesn't have perfume?
I'll be honest, I feel like you might, only just because Jimmy has too much life left to go for game.
Yeah.
I feel like you just have to play blockers and hope for the best. So he's gone 7 here. I assume it will be going, at life. Get another 2k. Doing Jack to trash the Blackbeard. Oh, no, trash the Jinbei.
If that Marshall D. Teach lives, he's actually going to go 17 with Dofi.
Which is pretty crazy. Plays the Gecko. Oh. Koi actually just trashing a character for no reason there, so that's what Jimmy was just pointing out. Gets another 2k to hand, so that is... And I assume he'll just get another 2k probably, because he used 2 before. Now we'll get Spandine back, and he's going to play Spandine to...
Try and kill...
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if he doesn't have perfume, 100% the right play just to clear board every single turn.
Which is totally fair because, as we were saying, probably only a one of, if that, in the deck.
Yep.
And it's not searchable unless you're playing Sengoku, but most Dofis don't. All right, so yeah. Oh, looks like the game's over.
Oh, yeah. He revealed the perfume and it's game.
Apologies, someone just walked in, so we just looked away for 2 seconds. But yeah, plays the perfume. Jimmy takes that. Obviously, it's just got a swing. Is it 17 plus 2?
No. It was just going to be 15.
Okay.